as we start.
Hi, and it's the right Rican, and we're here live. I'm here live with MAGAY, and I gotta say, I've been trying to get in contact with her for man over a year because I loved her COVID videos. But I'm gonna let you introduce yourself to my audience.
All
What
right.
would you say about yourself? How would you introduce yourself?
Good evening, everyone, and thank you, Carlitos, for inviting me over here to your show. I actually haven't heard about you before, so I'm glad that you reached out. And I'm sorry it took you a while to get me. I'm not that like inaccessible. You could have just sent me a DM. Uh, but my name is Maggie, as you introduced me. I'm also going by Rachel. I'm originally from Israel. I moved to United States 10 years ago, to New York City. I just thought like just to have an experience, but
Mhm.
I fell in love with this country and I decided to stay. And I didn't care much for politics for the majority of my life, but eventually, when Trump was running, I got more interested because of specific issues that he was talking about, and I was trying to be vocal on social media. I wanted to comment on these posts, and then I was starting to get some hate messages on my DM. And being a photographer here in New York City, a very liberal city, it was tough
Oh
to
yeah.
like show my face out there as a Republican, as a Trump supporter. So I created a fake account just to be able to, to like posts or share my own opinions.
Yeah.
And and I called it MAGA because I'm a MAGA gay person. I just like the word gay better than lesbian, so I use it. I'm a gay woman,
Okay.
and I started with just like, creating like memes or reposting people things and adding my own caption on it. And then that account grew because people enjoy that there's someone whose name Mege has his
Mm.
opinion, and it led to me being more outspoken and vocal. And eventually, I started recording myself, my videos, and I think eventually I became some sort of a like political activist, if that's the title I can put it for
Well,
my
yeah, like I said, I found you when you were doing the videos
right.
on the train where you were wearing a mask and everybody was wearing a mask and they're looking at you like you're the weirdo.
Yeah, of course. I was for many train rides. It was and bus rides and cab rides. I was the only person who didn't wear a mask, and it was required in a way. They didn't force me to. Nobody actually through this whole time. Nobody ever actually told me to put a mask on a train or any public transportation. The only time I
Mm.
was asked to put a mask on, it was at businesses. If I walk into a business in New York City, let's say grocery store or
Yep.
something of that sort, they will ask me. Now it's up, and then I made a decision. If I really want to get to that store and buy whatever it is, then I have to put a mask because it's a private business. I respect
Yeah.
their request. But many stores, I was like, all right, thank you, goodbye, and I left and I went to other businesses. There were like very few businesses who actually will welcome in for like for a meal and drinks or a show. In the case of the Comic Strip Live, there were one of Comic Strip Live and Rocco's Bakery was one of the only few um, places, businesses in the city that were, well, at the time it was masked, but then
Yeah.
also with the vaccines, they were very, they were fighting for freedom, basically.
Yeah. I remember Rocco's fighting because I like their cannolis. So I remember that what they were. I mean, I don't live in New York anymore. I live in the Poconos, but I'm not too far. So I go to New York a lot. I remember having to go like visit my parents and then take my parents to like supermarket and going with them. And I'm like, in the Poconos, I don't have to wear my mask, and here I got to wear my mask. I'm like,
Yeah.
it's
Well, it was literally you'll take a Long Island railroad short trip outside of the city or just to New Jersey, and there was a whole different experience of how the different of restrictions there were
yeah.
on
Hmm.
your rights, basically. But once again, the businesses were free to do, I guess, whatever they want. But for the public transportation, they couldn't force me to do so, and I didn't let them. But everyone else, I'm talking about hundreds, if not thousands, of commuters that I would have seen because I would take a lot of subway at that time.
Hmm.
And for me, it was like kind of like a protection mechanism or like a tool that I would use in order to protect myself. That I walked in with me recording myself, then At least the people inside are like, okay, what is happening? They were like confused, like why I'm going and filming myself and I'm smiling and I'm like
Yeah.
in faces. To me, it
It probably
was
kept people away from bothering you too, because it was like, oh, well, look, she's recording.
yeah,
I don't want to get caught on camera saying something stupid.
but then I will record for 15 seconds or like maybe 1 minute. Then I'll sit down in that sub record and everyone's looking at me. And I'm like on my phone and then I record them or record all the propaganda that was there.
Yeah.
Like you hop in, you're a good person if you put in a mask on. I'm like, I don't want to
Yeah.
put them and I don't need to have a reason. But I, the more I did it, the
Mhm.
more people reached out to me on my account because I didn't start the account with these videos. I did
Yeah.
many other things besides, or like I've been vocal about many issues. But this was, showing people that you can do it. You don't have to wear the mask. You can just walk in. Nobody will tell you anything. I know many people were harassed when I wear a mask in New York City, but nobody said to me anything. Maybe I'm like, I would think that I would also look a little intimidating. That's why maybe also. And they were like, is she a woman? She's a man. I don't want to
Are
misgender
you
her.
are you a tall woman?
Tall?
Yeah. How tall are
Not,
you?
not that tall, but I'm like, I'm 5'6".
Okay, so yeah, so well, you're tall for a woman because what
Yeah,
is it like
yeah.
an
But I'm,
average?
I'm like a little, a bit above average of.
I'm tall for a Puerto Rican. I'm 5'10". But no, so I'm assuming so through that page is how you became more active, more like an activist.
In a way, yeah, it led me. Well, it was at the beginning. It was just me, like on that social media account. But then eventually, I was like, wait, there's a whole community out here in New York City that are
Mhm.
not liberals, and I started taking myself out to these communities. Like there are Republican organizations and clubs in the city that I became involved with. I was for a certain time also last year. I was the outreach chair of Low Cabin Republicans of New York. Are you familiar with?
Yeah, no, yeah, I know the log cabins. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and then so I got also involved more in front of politics and I don't know for me it's just in a way it's like a hobby. It's like not
Uh-huh.
something I'm voting my 100% on. I have 2 jobs. I have my whole life outside of this, but
Mhm.
I am very passionate about some issues, and I think that by me speaking up on my platform and
Mhm.
to how many people I can reach out, I'm making some difference in their lives. As we talked about these videos, and I will start saying, people will reach out to me in the DMs. Many people who'll be like, you know what, you encourage me, you're inspiring me. I'm not losing hope. And people were telling me how they are about to walk into a grocery store or some other business, and they're thinking, should I put the mask? Should I not? And I'm like, they were thinking of me. I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna do it. And they did it. And then they had to text me after this to let me know, or like they will send me photos of themselves in the subway with no mask, stuff like that. So I'm like, you know what? There's power in speaking up. I should
No,
keep up.
definitely. I mean, that's why like I go it's important because I had Mario Presents on a couple of weeks ago,
Yeah,
and like I was telling him, it's important that um people of color, gay people, trans people to speak out about stuff that I mean, especially when they're using our communities. Like, they're using our communities to shut people up. That's why I had him on, like, because I know you also a member of Gays for Against Groomers.
right.
And I think it's important that, I was talking about this with a friend of mine, and I was saying, because he's gay and he was just there, like, he doesn't understand the issue and he thinks it's not a big deal. And I
Mhm.
was like, I was trying to explain it to him, and it's
What
just
what
when you
is not
start,
a big deal for
what
him?
happened?
What he thinks is not a big deal.
He thinks like the drag queen shows, with taking kids to the drag queen shows is not a big deal.
Right,
And I told him, I said, you wouldn't take a kid to a strip show.
right. And you
So
say, oh, it's not the same thing.
what happened?
And then they will say it's not the same thing.
Yeah, they'll say it's not the same thing. And I'm like, the majority of drag shows I've been to are sexual. It's usually them maybe not getting completely naked, but they go down into the underwear.
Well, to begin with, a drag queen, like it's a character in a way,
Hmm.
and the character involves a man, mostly men. There's some women that dress up as men, but it's mostly men that dressing up as women but hypersexualized women,
Hmm.
tons of makeup, huge fake boobs, big ass, whatever the dresses that they're wearing, and then they like to say, well, oh no, they're just gonna wear a Disney princess, a Disney princess dress. I'm like, doesn't make it not sexual.
Yeah.
The whole idea that a man dressed like this and just he puts this costume on him and then goes and perform. I was suggesting once, I'm like, you really want to read to these kids, these people? Just go as a man. Just go as yourself and read to them in the library. Why do you have to
Yeah.
put all that wig and makeup and that Disney dress? It doesn't make sense because mostly it's not that innocent. It's not that they're just walking there and reading them any book. They're reading them specific books
Yeah.
about gender identity and inclusion of the other, or let's talk about why I'm a man dressed as a woman and you can be whatever gender you would like to be. And you have these teachers adding to these drag queens, teachers and activists that are telling them that the doctor made a mistake and affirmed their assigned their gender,
Yeah.
but whatever gender they want. That's dangerous. That's dangerous. That's abusive. That they're manipulating their minds, and they don't. They're like, oh, but look, the kids is having fun at the show. What's so wrong about it? Kid is dancing and having a good time. I'm like, it's a kid. They don't
Yeah.
know that it's bad for them. That's what we need
Oh,
to.
what about? Have you seen the ones where the parents are giving their kids like dollars to
Yeah,
put
the
into the drag?
kids are there because the parents brought them.
Yeah.
So, and then obviously they will have to document the kid is giving the dollar bill to the drag queen. Otherwise,
Yeah.
nobody will know that they've been there and took their kids there.
Hmm.
And it's
Yeah.
all for
I
them.
was
It's
having an
all
argument. I was having an argument with someone, and I told them, I said, I don't care if there's a book teaching, um, let's say kids about, oh, I have two mommies or I have two daddies.
That's not
Like
about
that's not. There's no sexualization in that. But when
yeah,
you have that gender queer book where they're talking about hand jobs and blow jobs,
yeah, and that's the
and they're
book
supposed to be
libraries.
kid friendly for
Yeah,
like an elementary school, like no.
there's literally porn in these books
What
that
happened?
are accessible. They have porn in
Oh
these.
yeah, no, I've seen the images where there's graphic images in it. It's like if I took that to a school board meeting and blew up the image, they'd kick me out.
Right, or read a book.
Oh, read the book.
And they're like, excuse me, there's a kid in the ground. Let the kid get out. Oh, excuse me.
Exactly my point.
But it's and those gays people are like blind. They're like they have blind spots on it. They're like, oh, they're only looking. They don't see the big picture. They're only looking at, oh, what's so wrong with the drug queen? But it's all of it because the kids cannot escape. It's the teachers. It's the drag queens. It's their TV programs. You have Nickelodeon. You have the TikTok, obviously, very dangerous place for kids. And then it's like all around them. And then you have it's not enough. Then you have also the government who's pushing for it as well. You have Biden himself saying they're pushing transgenderism on kids.
Hmm.
In addition to all of this, Biden is saying that gender affirming care is the most powerful thing you can do as a parent to your kid. And when you're talking about gender affirming care, it's basically mutilation and medicalization of children, and the administration is pushing for it.
Yeah,
Planned
it's
Parenthood.
crazy.
I don't know how
I,
Planned Parenthood got into it as well, but they're also pushing.
I was gonna say I heard a story. I've heard I was reading stuff about it where they talk about, oh, the puberty blockers is not a big deal, but I was reading a story where they were doing a vaginoplasty. I think that's what it's called, when they take the penis and turn it into a vagina.
Right, I don't know how
But
it's disgusting.
because they put the boy on puberty blockers, he didn't have enough penile material to make the vagina.
Yeah.
So they had to use like in part of his intestine to make the vagina. And then he
it's
ended
not
up
vagina.
yeah, then he ended up getting depressed because the vagina smelled like the intestine.
Yeah.
So I mean, I like I said, like you
Look,
said, like you said, mutilation.
These surgeries are straight out like from Dr. Mengelay's book or something. It's it's horrific what they're doing. They're doing experiments on these people. Now, if you as an adult decide to go ahead and do these surgeries, be my guest. I hope you know all the side effects, the consequences of what's gonna happen. I hope you have like how's this all consent, informed consent.
Yeah.
I would hope so as an adult, but for a kid, it's absolutely it's child abuse because they cannot decide for themselves that I want to take hormone blockers that will basically chemical castration, and then they may change their minds. There are big chances that they're going to change their minds. What's going to happen there?
Well, here's the funny thing: a kid can't get a tattoo if they're under 18. If a parent puts a tattoo on their 12-year-old, they could go to jail.
Right. Someone
but you could give them puberty blockers.
Yeah. The mother and the tattoo artist got into trouble because there was a 10-year-old that got a tattoo. Well, she thought it's a temporary tattoo. Funny thing is that the tattoo is actually temporary because you can remove a tattoo.
Yeah.
I had a few tattoos, she removed them all. But when you take home puberty blockers, or if you cut off your boobs, that's not temporary. You can go back. Nope. And they love to use the lie of puberty blockers are safe and reversible, which is not either. They're not safe because they have many bad side effects, including infertility. That's the whole point of them.
Yeah.
And it's not the reversible part. They're like, oh, it just pause it for you to think a little bit if you want to change it or not.
Yes. Someone just commenting, they said that the doctors make too much money to pass it up. And I think that's I think that's an aspect that people don't realize it, because once these trans kids, once they go on puberty blockers, then happens after that? They have to go on hormones, and they got to be on hormones for the rest of their life.
Once they're taking the hormone blockers, for the most part, if it wasn't just really for a couple months, or before it's like the damage is too bad to go back. But once you introduce these chemicals to a natural process that happens in your body, there's no going back. Think of it, for example, as I have my skin always growing, right? It keeps, like, even whenever we cut ourselves, it's growing. If the cut is not big enough, you won't be able to see any mark. But if it's big enough, you'll have a scar. That scar will be in that puberty process of that person. There is damage to development of vital organs. That's what this chemical does. So there's no going back once you introduce it. And obviously, it's basically they're creating lifelong patients for the pharmaceutical companies, as one of the people mentioned here. The doctors, the therapists, the pharmaceutical companies, they're all making a lot of money out of this industry, and it makes sense why they will push it on these kids. And they're trying, like in California, they're trying to take parents' rights away so they can have more freedom to
freedom.
Yeah. I mean, no. So the government will have more freedom to do what they want to do to these kids.
Well, no, that's why I said freedom, because it's like when when you're giving the government freedom, you're taking it away from yourself.
Absolutely.
So why do you think? What's your opinion? Why do you think this is being pushed, especially like right now?
Well, right now it's just like the next thing. To me, it looks like it's connected to what happened during COVID. If this is not a case against groomers, shared opinion. It's my own MAGAY opinion. Yeah. I think it's part of it is two reasons: the money. It's a money making. And also because less and less people are taking the vaccines, or there's less dependence, or people are getting away from the modern medicine or the pharmaceutical companies. People are finding other ways to feel better with themselves. We're finding out all their lies. Everything's been exposed. So they're finding a new money resource from these vulnerable, easy to manipulate kids. So that's first, right? So the money. And the second thing, obviously, to me, it's the population. When you're looking at where they're trying to get, so like you have 4,000% increase in adolescents that identify as trans. So you obviously, when you're looking at as we share, all across the board, they're pushing this agenda on these kids, and then all these kids that will go through puberty blockers, that will go through these surgeries, they're losing their sexual drive. Many of them are becoming infertility, losing. Sorry.
Yeah,
my English gets sometimes
infertile. They lose their ability to have children.
they're losing their ability to have children. Many of them will never have orgasm. Like the people going through these bottom surgeries will never have orgasm again.
Yep.
I don't know if it's worth it to pass it, uh, but yeah, these people are not gonna have kids. So that's how you control in some way of the depopulation.
Oh.
Ah,
Oh my.
Balenciaga is pushing.
Well,
Yeah,
George, that's a good
maybe
segue
you
because we
ask
were going to talk about it.
that.
Thank you, George, for that one. We are so he
Definitely.
could see. We were going to talk about it. We're going to talk
I'm
about
ready.
these
I'm ready for someone.
disturbing pictures. Um, so for people who are watching, you could see
Right. Who is
there's a little girl with the Balenciaga outfit, but she's holding a purple teddy bear that has uh bondage um a bondage outfit. And if you look at you look at this other picture,
yeah,
same thing. It's a bear in bondage outfit, and you even see some of like these chains kind of look like handcuffs.
there's about like four different kids actually in that campaign.
Yeah.
These two
uh
photos are being the most popular, and then you have this
mhm.
one. This is another campaign, but the first two that you showed with the kids, there are two other kids also
Yeah,
in that
there
campaign.
was one I couldn't find
This
the one
one
with the kids face down.
is for this. Yeah.
I couldn't find the picture with the kids face down. That
Right.
was the
It's
one
the same. It's
I
the
was looking for because that one disturbed me a lot. Because I'm like, how much
one.
more obvious can you
She's
be?
laying, the one that she's laying on the couch. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah, that one was like, how much more obvious can you be with that?
Yeah. So basically, what they're doing is they're stop hiding. You know, it's not that like, oh, suddenly we started to support the sexualization, like exploitation of children. Obviously not. It's been going on, and it's way deeper than just these images. These images are like the tip of the iceberg of what's going on with.
You know what? I'm going to
With
show that other one that we were talking about.
okay, what?
Well, you could keep speaking. I just want to show people this because I still think I'm still bugged out by this.
Right.
I'm still bugged out by this. That
That's
was you.
the name Balenciaga.
Yeah, Balenciaga. You know, when you look at it, the Latin translation, it's Bal is the king, and so people could see I'm not. This is not me like photoshopping or anything like that. It's the actual. You know, I added. Now I removed it. Undo.
So
Here we go.
basically, probably it's a company that is a front for satanic
Yeah.
demonic cult of, as you said, sacrificing kids, uh,
Hmm.
sex trafficking kids.
Sex trafficking, like we said, because like I said earlier, I said, you know, it's not sacrificing your child is not just taking their life. When you're ruining their innocence, you're taking away their innocence, you're taking away their their childhood by doing stuff like that. So um that's satanic in itself.
It is, uh,
But
and then for some reason, not enough people are being outspoken against it. It's
yeah,
like
I don't.
it's
I
like
You know, it's funny. It's like what was it? I remember Goya.
right.
The Goya president said
He was
he
supporting
supported
Trump.
Trump.
Was
He said
boycotted.
Trump's a great president, and you want to boycott Goya, but here you have a company, you know, showing, you know, child pornography, pedophilia, but no one's talking about banning the company or
Well, some
boycotting the company.
not no not no one. It's not that no one is talking about it. Many people do, but not enough.
Not
And
enough.
it makes you wonder. And I think it's because all these people are being quiet is because they're supporting of these satanic rituals
Hmm.
and exploiting children and sexualizing children, and supporting of it.
Hmm. You know,
We
it's.
do
I
know
mean, it's scary. We don't know Epstein and what's her name?
Ghislaine Maxwell.
Ghislaine Maxwell. They're
Yeah,
both they were found guilty of child trafficking,
yeah.
but we're their clients.
Or the clients. Well, the clients are the ones who are pulling the strings now with
Of course.
things that's going on. And I'm saying I put out a tweet about it. Thinking in regards to Balenciaga, I'm thinking like, does it seem like since Epstein didn't kill himself, that they're pushing more and more pedophilia or to normalize to normalize pedophilia. And it feels like, you know what, maybe all these people in the street be like, okay, let's try to normalize pedophilia. Now pedophilia is cool. Just let it, love is love, or like love has no age, map, all of these things.
Yeah, map.
Beautiful. This is not a sexuality. No, everyone will just get, how do you say, desensitized. Like everyone will be cool with it.
Desensitized, yeah.
And nobody will be mad at us once we finally,
Yeah.
release that list.
Yeah,
Nobody
it's what you
cares.
call.
Cool.
It's also what you call incrementalism, where you go drip little by little by little.
Yeah.
You keep pushing that line, and then all of a sudden, you're way past the line where you first were at.
Right, and that's what's going on with that movement that is being pushed on the kids. It started. I mean, it started with just really them, the drag queen, going to a library. There's an organization. It's called Drag Queen. They used to call them Drag Queen Story Hour, but they dropped the queen because there's also Drag King, so Drag Story Hour. They used to actually just go as the drag queens they are, sit at the library or class and reading them stories. But now they invited them over to these pride events and to the bars, the gay bars. Every drag show today, or almost in America, is like all ages drag show because there's no anymore. But it's like the slippery slope. It started with something and it's just getting worse and worse. And now you have the kids, 11-year-old doing drag shows. So what the way I see it is just more people need to be vocal against it, demand Balenciaga to be canceled, at least that, like some accountability. They need to give us names of who are the people. I also point that out. Who are everyone who worked on that campaign, and it's like hundreds of people who were involved with this. Where are these people? All these people, first of all, should be fired, or they should have their names, because the industry should know that they shouldn't be working with someone who's supporting the exploitation and sexualization of children, because none of them thought that it's wrong. Everyone was like,
how many people reviewed that?
Now sit on the couch, now do this. Yeah, they were there.
Yeah, how many people reviewed the catalog? Because this is the whole thing. Before it could become a catalog, they took the pictures. People reviewed the pictures. People edited the pictures. And nobody said, hey, there's something wrong here?
Yeah.
Because they're, like you said earlier, they're desensitized to it. They probably see so much filth.
They see worse than that. They're like, oh, what's the problem with that?
Yeah, no, definitely.
How in the second apology they wrote, some people described what the bear was wearing as BDSM. Like, we described that because it's not. They won't say that it was BDSM. Us that seen it as. Can you show that photo again?
It's like, do you did you ever used to watch South Park?
Yeah.
You ever watch South Park? Yeah. I like that bear. Looks like something like Mr. Slave would wear. It's like, seriously. It's like, how much more, bondage can you get with that?
But it's not just the what the bear would wear. It's also other accessories that were in the shoot. And interesting about to point out about the photographer, when Balenciaga, there's some headline that Balenciaga basically was trying to sue him for $25 million. The photographer, or the producers, they kept blaming other people. And the photographer put up a statement, kind of like to brush it off, where he was saying, look, my job, I didn't come up with the idea. My job was to come, put the lights, and take photos. That photographer is known for going around the world, taking photos of kids in a setting where all their favorite toys are spread around them, in front of them, exactly as it is in the like, if you look him up and you go to see his photos. So in this scenario, you have how do we know to fight this? I'll tell you in a second. So
I knew you were going there. That's why I just wanted to put it up there.
Yeah. You're controlling what comments are showing up?
Yeah, I control the comments that show up. Yeah.
All right, awesome. So he only came there to lit and light it and take photos, while his signature is to take photos with kids presenting their favorite toys. Now you come into a set and the kid is presenting their favorite toys as this bear and alcohol and some BDSM like collars, bunch of like
some of the chains look like handcuffs. Like
none of it, like, that's their toys, right? Obviously, like, everyone that's trying to like give an apology or give some sort of an explanation, just make it worse. We don't believe any of the. I don't believe any of the BS that none of them saying. What I want to see happening is, and how do we unite? Well, there's this Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern, and then 11. Where was it? Pacific, I guess.
Yeah.
They're gonna be a nationwide, and I think also in Canada there's gonna be one location. But all of Nordstrom big stores gonna have a protest outside to
Oh.
cancel Balenciaga. So this is one thing, because Nordstrom is one of the biggest distributor of Balenciaga, and people are demanding to them to drop. People demanding Nordstrom to drop them. That will hurt Balenciaga. Who is organizing this protest? So it's a collaboration of two organizations. One of them we talked about, that I'm a member of, Gays Against Groomers. We're collaborating with Mom Army, which is Million Outrageous Moms Army.
Oh, I haven't heard that one.
And we're also joining with Dad's Army, that started after Mom's Army. But Mom Army is someone who was seeing what's going on with the sexualization and indoctrination of children, mostly at school, but in general. And she decided she can't stay silent anymore. And she's trying to get all these outrageous moms together, riled up against this. And so these two organizations are leading the protest. So you can go either to Gays Against Groomers or to Mom, just MOM
Army.
Mom Army, and you'll find Mom Army has many. When you'll type it in, you'll see many chapters or battalions, that they like to call it.
Okay.
But the one that doesn't have any initials after, that's the OG. And they advertise about these coming up protests. But basically, as a general, try to unite these organizations together. Join the efforts to go to student school council. How's it called? Meetings, I guess.
Oh yeah, okay.
Then I don't know how's it called? Council meetings, student council meetings, school council meetings.
Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, you mean the school board meetings?
School board meetings. Sorry, yeah. I say council, I guess. What else you can do? Educate your friends and your family. And many people are not aware of what's going on. Like the people who live on in these social media or following mostly like political accounts. It is mostly among us that we are aware of all these deep things that's going on. But many people outside who only get information from mainstream media will not hear about it. Like I didn't see big headlines anywhere in regards to what's going on with Balenciaga. Did you? I don't know.
No, well, I mean, I'm a political junkie, so I follow. So I'm always seeing stuff. I'm reading stuff, watching stuff.
Okay.
You know, I used to do my show. I used to do my show daily. I actually used to do a daily show, but it got too much because I mean, to read, reading so much, and I got kids, so it's kind of hard to read that and spend time with them. And so it's like, no, weekly's better because then I could try to get people on and talk about this stuff where it's more interesting than me just talking on the camera and giving my opinion than it is talking with someone else where, we can either share an opinion or maybe we'll have pushback. Maybe we have disagreement.
And that's okay. I mean, it's normal to have disagreement. We cannot all agree on everything. What's going on?
Is this the million? Is this the group? Is this the right group?
I don't know if I ever watched this announcement. I don't know if that's their. Well, can you go on Instagram?
I could go on Instagram.
Well, just go to Gays Against Groomers then. The Gays Against Groomers website. 1 million moms. No, it's supposed to be Million Outrageous Moms.
Yeah, I looked that up, but like I said, I looked up Million Outraged Moms, and that's the thing that came up was 1 million moms.
Watch the.
But here's Gays Against Groomers for people who is the boycott here?
Well,
I was looking for it just so people could see it.
Well, it's not about just a specific boycott. I just wanted to get the information. Maybe go to events. I think it's going to be at events. Sorry, I didn't come prepared.
Oh, it's okay. No worries. That's it's a conversation. That's why I never call it an interview. I always call it a conversation.
Yeah. So the one on the right. Balenciaga. So I don't
This
know.
one. Oh, okay.
So,
So for people, I'm gonna let me click.
is there option to open it up or not?
Yeah, I could go to the it says here I could go to the Twitter page
Right.
for it. Let's see if
Gives
it
you
loads up.
all the information in that little flyer, I guess, basically. So it says, well, to
Oh,
me,
there you go. I'll tweet it out. Let me tag you in the tweet. So like that I
so
could
on their Instagram page. So if you can just did you see where it was saying where it was showing all the
it was
links?
showing it's not showing Instagram, it's showing Facebook, Twitter, and
Right. No, I'm
Indeed,
saying
right?
before you entered
Link.
this page, there's an option to go to all the other social medias of
Okay.
groomers. So just go from there for a second. That's
Yeah, I'll just go to Gays Against Groomers on Instagram. Let's see.
yeah. So in one of these posts, basically it's a slide where they publish all the locations. But you can also go to Mom Army, as I said, on Instagram. I
Mhm.
don't know what other social medias. I just mostly use my primary social media is my favorite one is Instagram, but just because I like that platform the most.
Well, you're a photographer, so of course
Yeah,
Instagram's your favorite.
yeah, makes sense, right? And
Yeah.
then I'm also active a little bit on Twitter. It's my second account on Twitter. On Instagram, I'm active on my fifth, but I have already up till seven. Uh,
Yeah, I saw
it-
that.
yeah,
I'm like, uh, so how many times?
but
So that's how many times you've been banned?
so interesting enough, I only had one account being taken down completely. It was my first ever backup, and one
Uh-huh.
day there was one video that went viral because they put it. I guess they put it on the explore section or something, and it reached like I don't know, like in less than 24 hours, it reached 150,000 views. Where I only had like
Mm.
2,000 followers. So
Uh,
so I
oh, there
one
it goes, right
and
there.
then I logged in. Um, yeah, it might not be this one. Sorry, glad that you opened it, but
Well, no,
yeah.
you said this one, the Mom's Army. There you go. Oh, wait, can you see me? Oh, yeah, you can see it there. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. There was one more. If you don't mind, close it down for a second and scroll
Okay.
down. One with a white background.
This
I
one
think,
here.
yeah, I think it's this one. Is it a slide? No.
Let me see. I'll click
I
on
don't
it. It says here, it's not fashionable. Yeah, this one has a slide. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there
Yeah.
goes all the locations.
Yeah. That's the one I was trying to pull up for you to pull up. Yeah. So this one
Oh,
has
okay.
location that's right now has been advertised, but then also you can reach out to Mom Army, and then if you want to do one in your town, your city, but basically we're taking the process to North Storm. Um, yeah, perfect, awesome, thank you.
Yeah, I can't, it's weird. I can't, let's see. I want to share it. No, I can't. Because it's weird because with Instagram, you could share it from your phone,
Yeah, you can't do much from the desktop.
but you
Yeah,
can't do much from the desktop. I'd have to go on and, the
that's
cool thing about Mac, I could change it to the iPhone setting, and then it
like a
acts
phone.
like a phone. Yeah,
Oh, that's good to know. Thanks.
yeah. I could show you not now, but I could show you offline.
Right. So the reason I have multiple accounts is because all the past accounts up until MAGAY 4.0 is now
Oh,
the one that has the most exposure at the moment.
oh,
But I'm active on the fifth account, and the reason is because the reason I have so many accounts because Instagram is playing with me. They're
yeah.
censoring me, moving,
Shadow banning.
shadow banning video. Exactly. Sorry, I said
Yeah.
Hebrew video. Exactly.
Yeah, I figured that you meant to say shadow banning. That's why I figured that's why I was
Yeah.
like, yeah,
Yeah.
I know how
Some
that
people
goes.
don't know what it means, but it means that basically your exposure is limited. They actively removing my followers. Like every month, there's an
Hmm.
average of 100 less followers, and then and I'm just censored. So I'm just I'm trying to reach out to people. So-
There's an interesting question. I like this one. It goes, have you encountered any problems with your
yeah,
family, your friends or family for your views?
yeah, of course I have. My family with my views, I didn't get into encounters. They're being very supportive of me and just like tell me you do you. They're a little
Okay.
worried for me that I'm being so outspoken here on social media and worried for my safety. But they have no problem with my views. but I lost friends for my views,
Oh
100%.
yeah.
Yeah, and it's not even about my views specifically. It was just I lost and I was excluded from gay circles in the New York City and from friend circles just because they found out I'm a Republican. They didn't even
Yeah.
know, for example, I'm pro-life or like I'm
Yeah.
pro-gun. Like not really or that I love Trump so much.
Mhm.
They just knew that I'm Republican was enough for them to cut ties. So yeah, I did encounter, but that's okay. I mean,
Well,
people tell me if that they weren't your real friends, and I'm like, fine, friends come and go. I did find through getting through these Republican clubs, I got to find new friends,
yeah.
and I'm okay. And I have a few liberal friends that know that I'm Republican and are fine with it. I have one very close friend that I'm actually able to have many debates on, and we many times very disagree. But at the end of it, we always like get to a point where we're like, okay, I think we can leave it for now. Like
Or it's
when
like
you
you get
try
to
to
the
get
point where let's agree to disagree.
exactly like
Because
none of us gonna convince each other.
yeah,
There's no continue with this. Let's agree to disagree, and we'll talk about something else.
yeah,
Uh,
I'm like that with my best friend. My best friend and I, um, she's more. I wouldn't say. Well, yeah, no, she's liberal, lefties for some things, but other things um, like I remember in the beginning, she wasn't for gay marriage. She was for civil union.
mhm.
She was like leave. She was like leave marriages to the churches,
What?
and the state should only recognize the civil union. The state shouldn't recognize marriages. And then after everything passed, now she's for gay marriage, which I'm still waiting for her to get married so I could go to my first gay wedding. Because my cousin got married at a cruise and I couldn't go because it's a cruise. I have
Yeah.
kids. I'm like, that means I got to spend like 5 tickets just to go to the wedding. I couldn't afford it, but
Right. For me, I think marriage in general is, I don't know, it's a very outdated situation, like with this
Mm,
whole contract and like it's so hard to get out of it and all. But and then for the people who are doing it for the religious reasons, it should be theirs.
mhm.
And then if I mean, I think for myself, I'm not a religious person, but I respect people religions, and I don't like, for example, when you have a gay couple that demanding from a Christian baker to
Yeah.
bake. I think it's wrong because they won't do it to a Muslim one.
Mm.
No,
Did you ever heard of Steven Crowder?
they won't go to a Jewish one and try to get like I don't
Yeah.
know a cake with a bacon,
Yeah.
right? No, they only would
Have,
get
have you heard of Steven Crowder?
yeah.
He's a right wing comedian. Did you ever see when he went to uh like I think it was Dearborn, Michigan, and he tried to get them to make a gay wedding cake?
No, it's
Oh, you gotta check it out. It's hilarious because nobody else would do it.
yeah,
There's no left wing comedian that would dare do that.
yeah. No,
So
is that
so before we get any later, because I know you said you could go on. So I wanted to talk about your views because on Israel because not a lot of um most of my gay friends when it comes to Israel they're pro like super pro Palestinian like you know
I don't
and
get it. To
I don't get it because I tell them try to go to Palestine, try to go to Iran, any of those Muslim countries and try to go there with your significant other,
yeah,
see how
or
that
try to
goes.
hold hands with the same sex person.
Yes.
Let's see how it will work out for you.
Yeah.
I'm very pro-Israel. I'm Israeli. And I'm a Zionist. I'm a patriotic Israeli, and I believe that we have the right to exist naturally. Well, my history brings me to there because I am the granddaughter of a Holocaust survivor, and he named me after. Well, my grandfather asked my parents to name me after his mother who didn't survive the Holocaust, and I feel like it's my duty to protect and to preserve. Even though I'm not religious, but I am Jew. I am a Jew, and
So you
um,
said you were born in Israel. Does that mean that you were a member of the army, right?
yeah, I served in the military 2 years, the mandatory 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was a
Oh, okay. So you're bad. So that's why you're a badass.
yeah,
So
one of them. I'd say because I have like I have that Israeli DNA, or like that Jewish, like something in that DNA. It's not just the military, but also, yeah. But I am a badass, and
Okay.
then so for me, Israel is important. I think that Israel is the home of the Jewish people. When we're looking at the Bible is a history book, in my opinion, and when we're looking at how history evolved and how Jews were, like how Judaism created with Abraham in Beersheba, so it makes sense. Jerusalem is the holiest place. Israel is the home of the Jews. In 48, well, actually, it's interesting. It was yesterday. In 47, 1947, was the UN finally voted to get two states, one for the Jews and one for the Arabs in Israel. And they were basically saying, look, the Jews were spread out in some areas and the Arabs were spread out in some areas. It was like, you have your states in your areas where you already live, and you live in your area, and you have your state in your area where you live. The Jews were like, fine, great, we'll take it. The Arabs, not so much. And they went to war with the Jews, and the Jews won. But it's been like that since the beginning, or we can look at thousands of years of experience of the Jews that are just being targeted, and people try to kill us, and and for by miracle, we somehow won. But then we survived for so long. It was just had a conversation about it on Thanksgiving with someone who's writing a book about how the Jews through this whole time, so many people, so many empires that were trying to kill the Jews, they didn't survive, but the Jews are still here, and we're like 0.3 of the
Yeah.
population of the world.
I wanted to show this map so
There's only
people.
like 15, 16 million Jews in the world.
Well, I wanted to show this map as
They're like
like perspective here.
1.4 billion.
There's a map here. It says Israel and the Arab world,
Right.
and you see all these countries. So you see the sizes, and then you see Israel, so people could see how small
Yeah.
Israel is
And there's only
compared to
9
their neighbors.
million people live in that. And among those 9 million people, you have about, I don't know the percentage exactly, but it could be up to like 2 million that are not Jews. There are Muslims, Christians, something in that number. Maybe out of the 9 who have equal rights.
Yeah, because
But they
there's
get married.
Christians and Muslims in the Knesset, right?
Yeah,
Knesset, right?
yeah,
That's what.
yeah. And a minister also in the last administration. They have full rights. They have in the Knesset. Knesset is the parliament. You have doctors, professors, police officers, law enforcement. Some Muslims serve in the IDF, the Israel Defense Force. This is our military. Equal rights. The only problem is that on the border with Israel, you have what you call Palestine. I don't call it Palestine. I call it West Bank in Gaza. There's 2 separate areas. They have the people who calling themselves Palestinians. By the way, the name Palestinians didn't exist before 1968, the 6-Day War. When in that war, what happened was Egypt, Jordan, Syria, and Lebanon, all 4 countries are surrounding Israel, all enemies at the time, colluded together, brought all the forces to the front, to the border, in order to do a simultaneously attack from all fronts. Israel was smarter and were able to take over all the extra land out of their side in order to defend ourselves.
Yeah.
And days the war was done. But when the war was done, we took over the whole of all of Sinai, Golan Heights, and Jerusalem, and the area of the West Bank. And then Israel, for peace, wanted to give those lands back, or at least, well, we did give back to Egypt. We gave Sinai back, some part of in Jordan, but then there were some areas that they didn't want to take back. And these people don't want to go back to their countries, and they don't want to be Israel and so on. Look, you can be an Israeli citizen, but you have to, give your oath to this country. But they basically they don't want Israel to exist.
No.
It's not planned for them. For them, they're brainwashing their kids from very young age, almost like the indoctrination at schools here to be France. Over there, it's to hate the Jews. The kids having their TV shows, they have they're asking, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I'm like, well, I want to be a police officer. I'm like, why? And I'm like, because I want to kill as many Jews as I can. Like, they're celebrating it. When you have a terrorist attack in Gaza Street, they're passing out candies, cookies,
Hmm.
playing music, everyone's going out and dancing. When they're doing a terrorist attack in Israel and killing innocent Israelis in the streets. This is what we're dealing with on the other side. They don't believe we have the right to exist. They don't believe that we have the right for our own homeland. And that's what we're dealing with. And if someone asks me when do you think it's going to end or how it's going to end, my answer is that it's never going to end. Thousands of years of experience us that the Jews are always going to be hated. We're just going to be able to, every time it's going to get a little tough, we somehow going to be able to survive for a while. But we're not getting rid of anti-Semitism. We're not getting rid of people thinking that Zionism, they're looking at it as something as like they're thinking of it as a white supremacist thing, or like
Yeah.
very to something like very racist. But being a Zionist just basically means everyone can be a Zionist. It's not just Jews, but it means that you believe that the Jews should have Israel, their homeland, as their home.
Yeah.
And you saw
Because you have Christian Zionists too that believe that.
can be a Muslim. There are Muslim Zionists, but you saw that land. I mean, if it is about land, and they're like,
Yeah, no.
oh, but Jerusalem is always so important to us. Well, fine. You have they have the Muslims have their temple, their mosques protected in Jerusalem.
Yeah,
Israel
I'll show that again.
protecting all holy sites and have access to them, and they're not preventing from anyone to pray and to do anything. But Jerusalem is not the holiest place for Islam.
It's Mecca. No, it's Mecca.
Yeah. So, and you have, whenever you stand in the world, you have to pray towards Mecca. Where any Muslim, wherever they are in the world, when they pray 5 times a day, they have to pray towards Mecca. So, and then if you turn your back towards something, then it's like a disrespectful thing. So when you are on the east side of Jerusalem, then you have to face Mecca. You turning your back to Jerusalem. Just a little example to show you. It's not about the land. It's not about this. It's about the hatred towards the Jewish people.
Well, it boils down to, I mean, you look back at the history and you go all the way back to Ishmael, and you just go back and you see
good, yeah,
in a way God did keep his promise, because God said he would still make a great nation out of his Abraham's 2 sons, Isaac and Ishmael.
Yeah.
But the only problem is that the Ishmaelites hate the Jews.
The Jews, they do.
They do.
Hatred for what reason? I don't know. Like, what do we ever do to them? I have no idea.
I try.
I guess.
I had a friend, and it's the one of the first times I had to physically cut someone out, because I used to post memes all the time on Facebook, and one time I put something that offended some of my Christian friends. Mm-hmm. And you know what? And I removed it just because the fact that I was like, you know what? I found it funny. And then after I did that, I'm like, you know what? But that's not me. So I said, you know what? I'm not going to do that no more. And then one time I posted another meme, and my Palestinian friend, she got offended. She's like, you have to remove that. And I'm said, look, I'm tired of removing shit for people. I said, I'm me. And if you don't like it, there's the door. Right. And she blocked me and everything. And it was like, you know what? That's on you. Because I just got tired of it. I'm like, you know what? Look, I'm Christian. I have but you know what? I'm just because I'm religious doesn't mean that I can't be, let's say, little dirty, a little sexual, a little, because I'm still a human being. And I was like, you know what? I'm not going to be, that's not the person I want to be. I'm going to have my relationship with God, and that's going to be my relationship with God. Yeah. And if you can't take a joke, there's the door.
Right. You can block me.
Yep. That's, you know what? Cause that's me. I'm like, I'm a city boy from New York, and I'm always going to be some sort of city boy, even though I hate New York City now. I can only tolerate it in short stints. I can't tolerate it. My neighborhood is so gentrified that it has a Trader Joe's and Target.
That's
So I
where you
can't.
are now.
What happened?
Is that where you are now?
No, no, I'm in the Poconos. I'm in
Yeah,
Pennsylvania, but
yeah,
I'm from the Lower East Side
yeah.
of Manhattan.
So where the new Trader Joe's? That's the area you live there.
There's a Trader Joe's for anyone in. It's
Sorry,
on Clinton. It's
it's
on
on.
Clinton Street and Clinton and Grand
Mm.
and
Ah,
Manhattan. I don't know what borough you're in, but
well, I'm in Manhattan.
oh,
Now I'm in the Upper East Side.
okay.
Yeah, but I used to be a lot around the Lower East Side in my first couple of years here.
Oh, okay. So yeah. Well, it makes sense because I mean, there's a big Jewish community in the Lower East Side.
There's big Jewish community everywhere in New York. There's some neighborhoods in here that like you walking into these neighborhoods and then you're like, where the hell am I? You're like in a
Well,
different you're like
it's
in a different world
it's
basically.
funny. My wife is from the
Like,
Bronx.
are you familiar with that neighborhood?
Which neighborhood?
Borough Park.
Borough Park. Yeah, of course. Brooklyn.
It's like yeah,
Mhm.
in Brooklyn. It's like it's like a few blocks that everyone that lives has a business, drive, walk, or whatever in this neighborhood are all Hasidic people.
Oh yeah, well, I was going to tell
Like
you the funny.
accidentally cross street, everyone is like, what? Who,
This is the funny story I was going to say. My wife is from the Bronx. The Bronx doesn't have big Jewish communities.
yeah.
So when we were dating, we were hanging out in my in the Lower East Side during I think it was which is the one where they dance in a circle. I think is it
Uh-huh.
Rosh Hashanah or Yom Kippur.
Yeah, whatever.
Well, it was one of the holidays. So
Yeah.
they're outside, they're dancing with the Torah and lifting it up, and they're all going
Like
in.
after Sukkot, there's I don't know if you're familiar with the holiday Sukkot, but after Sukkot, there's a holiday it's called Simchat Torah. It's like
Oh.
it's the Bible celebration kind of thing. So
So
the
maybe
time,
that could have been the one.
yeah,
So they're dancing in a circle, and they're all dancing in the like concentric circles opposite way. And my wife, and to me, that was normal because I used to see it every year
yeah,
growing up. And
yeah.
for her, she was like, "I didn't know Jews do that." And I'm like, "Yeah, they do that every year.
Yeah.
That's nothing new to me."
But this is yeah, one specific or some groups of like there's so many different ways of like so many Jews. Not all Jews will celebrate like that.
Yeah,
Simchat
no, I know that.
Torah, but
It's like going to a Jewish wedding. They do that at the wedding where they
yeah,
lift up the bride and the groom, and it's they get crazy.
yeah, yeah. It's a whole different world. Absolutely.
Hmm.
Uh,
Well, I think
not my world, and I don't experience it much here in the Upper East Side. There's also a lot of Jews here. There's a couple of like big. There's a big synagogue not too far from here.
well, you may want to keep it vague because that's still good enough. You may not have people that don't like you, that want to,
Yeah, unfortunately, the anti-Semitism is on the rise, and people who are identified as Jews are being harassed or attacked.
Oh
Uh,
yes,
I always was, I I don't even wear like Hebrew thing or Hebrew
your Star of
or
David.
they will start David on that, and I don't want to be recognizable, because you can never know. But it's also not my thing. It's not that I like. Otherwise, I would walk with it. Uh,
Hmm.
um, but yeah, it's a tough city, and you try not to get too much attention to
Yeah,
it.
it's a scary time to be Jewish in New York City right now. Like,
Yeah,
it's sad that it's blacks and Latinos doing most of the attacking. It's like you don't hear. That's why you don't hear about it on the news.
yeah. If it was white people, it will be all over the
Oh,
news.
forget about it. If it was a white supremacist, then
Yeah, a Trump supporter.
a Trump supporter, yeah, then it's let's put this on the
Trump,
night.
by the way, maybe we can conclude with that. Trump is a legend in Israel.
Oh yeah.
Many Israel love Trump.
Oh no, I know that.
They named the place in the Golan Heights because it was actually also recognized the sovereignty, the Israel sovereignty over the Golan Heights. Besides
Mhm.
moving the embassy and like,
The Abraham Accords.
capital, Jerusalem is the capital. But
Mhm.
there's a place in the Golan Heights that's called Trump Heights, Ramot Trump.
Mhm.
They named it after Trump.
Yeah, he did the Abraham Accords, which struck the peace deals basically what was Saudi
That's to make
Arabia,
sure that no
United Arab.
were able to do in
Yeah,
never.
nobody talks about it. Nobody talks about the piece that Trump.
Nobody gave him the credit that he deserved, and maybe we can conclude with that because I did mention that I love him, but
Yeah.
people maybe didn't hear from me much about it. But my opinion in regards to Trump 24, maybe we can conclude with this. Trump 24 is that I think he should run. Well, he's running, but
Oh,
I
he's running.
support
Yeah.
him running.
I say
Maybe
Trump.
before
Trump.
he was announced, it was like I think he should.
I say Trump DeSantis. That's what I want to see.
I'd like to see that ticket, and then Santis DeSantis
Take over after Trump. Yep. No.
because I just want him to get his second term. Like he did so much in
Yes.
first like he accomplished almost all of his promises that he made, except draining the swamp. So I'm hoping second term he would. But he did so much as you mentioned also with the Abraham Accords, but to America, and it was while the swamp was fighting back. Like we had
Yes.
all that. And it was very hard for him to pull up all whatever he did, but still he was accomplishing so much. I'm thinking how much he would be doing with 4 more years.
Oh
And
yeah.
I would love to see it. And obviously the Sanders will be amazing. But if Trump would not gonna win in 24, he's not gonna run in 28. It's gonna be
No, no, not at all. I think if he
That's it.
doesn't win in 2020, if he doesn't win in 24,
That's it.
his time is done.
Yeah. So I just see it as with all my disagreement, and I have disagreement with him. I don't know if you know. Also, while I was doing all these videos, I also walked to Trump Tower while I'm doing the live stream, trying to see if they'll let me in with no POV, with no proof of vaccination, and they didn't. And that video went a little viral, and then I guess, I mean, people thought that I'm done with Trump, but I'm saying, look, I have this disagreement with him. All the rest of the politicians are way worse. It's not that like if you try to compare it to other people in politics, Trump is not a politician. I love it about him. I can have disagreement with him, but I just think he will do much better job in cleaning up the mess that Biden did. Biden did. Like
Yeah.
Biden didn't do anything.
No.
Biden. It's either it's Obama and other people behind the scenes controlling what's going on here. But I think Trump deserved to get his second term and to be that was stolen from him, if I can mention it, and then DeSantis can run this can be vice president, but then can run for the presidency in 28. That's how I like to see it.
All right. Well, let's say I think it's a good place to end it.
Yes.
Well, thank you for coming on. It was a pleasure talking with you, Rachel. I'm glad. I'm so happy. Like I said, I was trying. I mean, just like you said, you didn't have enough. You didn't have a lot of pull. But I've messaged. But I think what it is with Instagram, if we don't follow each other, you don't get it. It goes to the junk. So that's what probably happened. So that's why I'm glad some DJ Brenda was able to link us up, and I hope I can have you back on again sometime.
Speaking of, so I'll conclude with, I will say my goodbye and then conclude with that. Speaking of DJ Brenda, we together, we collabed together recently. We did the first ever conservative lesbians mixer. And so if anyone in your community of followers would be interested to hear more about it, if they're in the tri-state area and they want to come and attend and meet more conservative lesbians, there's not many of us. It's like maybe 5 people, but and I called it an event. I said we are the minority of the minority.
You're the left's worst nightmare, especially the women of color lesbian conservatives.
Yeah. I guess I'm passing as white, but I'm not. I mean, I'm so mixed. I'm like I have Spanish in me. My mom is from Spain.
Mm-hmm.
My dad was born in Israel, but to a Romanian dad, the Holocaust survivor, married a Kurdish from Iraq, a Kurdish woman from Iraq that grew up in Iraq. So Iraqi, Romanian, Spanish, Israeli, and I guess I'm white.
We're all human at the end of the day.
You're all part of the same race.
Exactly.
The human race. So if anyone interested, please follow me and stay tuned to my page. I'm gonna post in very soon about our next event. If any conservative lesbians are wanting to link up and get to meet other people and be encouraged to be more outspoken, that would be awesome. And thank you, the right Rican, for having me here. That was a pleasure talking with you and be on your show. Appreciate it.
Likewise. Well, I'm going to put her contact information in the description for anyone who wants to follow her. Her main page is, like she says, she's on Instagram because she loves to do her pictures. She's a photographer,
Yeah.
but she's also
Twitter.
you
Yeah.
said Twitter.
I,
Twitter's your other second one.
I guess so. Basically, if you, I don't know how you'll be able to put it out there, but like handle MAGAY is my name here, MAGA,
Yeah.
MAGAY
Well, I'm
underscore.
gonna put it like in the description. I'm gonna put links to all your social media, so like that they could just click. They could go in the description,
Yeah,
click on your wherever they want to follow you, and go
absolutely.
from there.
That's good. I
Hmm.
get it.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
have a good evening, and everyone. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. With that being said, I'll see you guys next week.